The Crusades. So before we start talking about the Crusades, you kind of need to know what's going on with these two empires, the Seljuk Turks Empire and the Byzantine Empire. So we'll start with the Seljuk Turks. They were a Muslim dynasty established in the 11th century. And these Turks were originally from Central Asia. They continued to expand their empire by taking the capital city of Baghdad from the Abbasid Empire. And they continued to expand west by taking Syria and Palestine and also Anatolia. The Byzantine Empire, you have to go back and remember your information that you learned from earlier this school year when we were learning about the fall of the Roman Empire. So it kind of started as the eastern part of the empire. On the eastern side, the capital was moved over there, and it was originally called Byzantium, but later got changed to Constantinople by Emperor Constantine. You can see the resemblance in the name. And in the Byzantine Empire, Christianity was very closely connected to the government. So, for example, the leader of the empire, Byzantine Empire, was not only considered a political leader, but also very much so a religious leader. In the Byzantine Empire, Greek language and culture dominated. So it wasn't only that Greek was spoken there, but it was one of the more primary languages. While if you remember, on the western side, Latin language was what dominated. And eventually there becomes a split in religion for the East and West. Basically in 1054, both are still Christian religion, part of the Christian religion, but the eastern side starts to be called, part of the Byzantine Empire, starts to be called Eastern Orthodox Church, while on the western side, what was formerly known as just the western side of the empire, of the Roman Empire, becomes known as Roman Catholic Church. So here's a timeline kind of showing you what are some of the key events that led up to eventually the Crusades. So we're not quite at the Crusades yet, but it's kind of the stuff that is setting it up for it. So in 800 you have the Holy Roman Empire created. So that's kind of this remaining area of the western part of the Roman Empire. Like we know that it fell apart in around 500, and eventually later on, it gets kind of centralized power again and becomes the Holy Roman Empire. In around the 11th century, the Great Seljuk Empire is created. In this area you can see here. In 1054, this huge separation occurs between the eastern and the western part of the church, of the Christian church. And like I mentioned before, it becomes the Roman Catholic Church over here on the western portion, and the Eastern Orthodox Church over here on the eastern section. 1055, the Seljuks take Baghdad from the Abbasids. Okay, and you can kind of see where the Seljuk territory is in red. 1071, the Byzantine army from the Byzantine Empire loses to the Seljuk Turks at the city called Manzikert, right in here. 1081, Alexius I Comnenus becomes emperor of Byzantium. You can see this mosaic of him. And then in 1092 is the death of the Seljuk ruler Malik Shah. You see a portrait here, which breaks up the Great Seljuk Empire. So it kind of makes the empire kind of get broken up. The power isn't so centralized. Kind of like what we saw with the Roman Empire initially. So to kind of give you a better idea of what's going on with the Roman Empire, the fall of Rome, how it keeps changing names, and all this stuff that's going on. So basically you have the fall of Rome in around, the capital of Rome in around 500 CE. Remember, it was right in here. Okay. So this led to the eventual creation of the Byzantine Empire in the east. So fall of Rome happens, the empire's still kind of going on over on the eastern portion. They eventually changed the name to the Byzantine Empire. Okay, you can see Constantinople here. It used to be called Byzantium. But the West, as you recall, the reason that Rome fell was because there were Germanic tribes that were invading. And so you have all these different Germanic kingdoms that are developed. Eventually, on the western portion, we have what is called the Holy Roman Empire that is developed. So basically, Pope Leo III, he's the head of the Catholic Church. So on the western portion, Pope Leo III doesn't like the fact that the Byzantine Empire, okay, over in the east, has an empress that is a female emperor. Her name is Irene. And instead decides that the Pope is going to make this king of the Franks. Okay, so king of the Franks. He's going to make the king of the Franks, which is kind of this area here, now the new emperor. And he calls him the Holy Roman Emperor. So Pope Leo III kind of makes this guy the emperor. And now we have here the Holy Roman Empire. Then eventually, this what happens is the eastern side of the empire versus the western side of the empire in regards to their Christian religion gets split into the Eastern Orthodox Church, where basically the Byzantine Empire is, and the Roman Catholic Church, basically where the Holy Roman Empire is. So the western portion. The reason that the split happened has to do with this whole change in leadership, right? Pope Leo III, made their own empire and all that, their own emperor. And they didn't. And then on the eastern side, they didn't really like that, so they started to close down all the churches that kind of followed the church rituals of the western side. So the ones that were kind of following the western side, they closed down the churches over here, so that it would only be the eastern kind of church. And the Pope over here didn't like that very much, and they just excommunicated each other. They basically both kicked each other out of each other's religion. And that's it.